Hello, everyone. Welcome to the September 2025 coaches meeting. Um, we've got some interesting things to share with you today, including upcoming events, registration, schedules, all sorts of things. So, as always, go ahead and sign in on the agenda so we can track your attendance. The link is pinned in the meeting chat. Um, so, follow up from last meeting was the mandatory meeting. If you're just now hearing that we had a mandatory meeting, I'm sorry, but we've been covering that for quite a while now. There is an Ed puzzle that had recorded, so if you need to participate in that mandatory meeting, we can make sure you get a copy of that. It's also on YouTube that we can share if you just want to refer to some specific points. So we won't follow up too much on that mandatory meeting. New business. So how to find varsity schedules. We're going to cover how to do that. There was a series of YouTube videos posted, but we'll go through some more right now. And kind of along that, LeagueOS in its variety of forms, which, believe it or not, is growing. Uh, so, this is the LeagueOS page that you're used to if you have been around the league for a while. We're calling this the V1 site. This is old school LeagueOS. It's still functional for now, but before too long, you won't be able to see and interact with this page anymore. So this is kind of phasing out and going away. For now, you're free to still use it, but I would make sure you understand the others as well. If you're looking for varsity matches in this old school V1 site, probably the easiest way is to scroll down to these categories. We have the competition sorted by unified, middle school, and high school. So like if we go to middle school Minecraft, all the varsity titles have regular seasons, so do all the club titles. The preseason will go away here as soon as we're done with this week. Once we enter that competition, we'll be able to see the schedules. You can sort by round, so you can see only those matches. You can click the little X to go back to all of them. We can sort by school. Anthony's on the center of my screen, so we'll pick on him. We can just search NMS and find all of their matches. You can click View to go into the specific match page, find the chat box, match reporting, all of those sorts of things. We'll release a video on some of this as well. So that's how you're going to find your matches for varsity. You should be able to do that for all the different competitions. Varsity schedules are what we're calling pending. They're done, they're generated. A lot of them have been changed. I would tell you the number, but it would make all of us just a little bit sad. We're remaking schedules for pending teams that might have not quite met all of the registration requirements, or schools that thought they had registered and hadn't. We're trying to be as flexible as possible for everyone. What that means is we are regenerating schedules. The last day that we will regenerate schedules is Friday morning. So Thursday is kind of the cutoff for everything, and then we'll have schedules generated Friday and finalized. So that's how you can find matches on the old V1 site. There's also the dashboard, which you can access via this dashboard button down in the left-hand corner. Or you can go to app.leagueos.gg, and that will load this screen. This had another update again today with a few minor quality of life improvements. To get to your teams and your school, it's now the top left button with people. Kind of makes sense.
There we go.
So
It
we
just
can do
updated,
that.
Joe.
Yep, it was lagging a little bit behind. So the top left button here for your school will load your teams. You can click on a specific team. What some people are struggling with is to check in for club. What you also need to do is click on the IEN submenu here. This will then load. And if you see my screen is very cluttered because I have like different zoom levels and things, I can't see the actual checkboxes here for my club matches. You can zoom out, and when you zoom out, you'll be able to see them. So the default zoom level is sometimes a little strange depending on your aspect ratio. You may just have to play with that a little bit on your device to see those checkmarks. This is where you'll also see your scheduled varsity matches. So you can click on the little arrow. What that does is it'll take you to the old LeagueOS V1 site, just like you saw before, and you can interact with. There's also comms now, and comms will, as soon as I share my screen again, be down here on the bottom left-hand side. Comms will also load your matches, and we can go in and chat in match chats here in comms. I can't quite do that yet because these are still pending, but once we move those over, you'll be able to chat here on this match page. You'll also be able to report scores here. That's brand new today. and activate your team members. So be on the lookout probably this weekend for a video walkthrough on how to use comms, but you can play around with this as well during your preseason matches for the rest of the week. It is another way to interact with. A third way, brand new, we teased the Edge site before, but now in the top left corner of our V1 site, there's a V2 Preview button. If you click that, it will load the new V2 main site of LeagueOS. Eventually, this will replace that old V1 site completely. So on here, you can see post matches. So these are upcoming matches that will be coming up. And then we have recent results. This is kind of like an ESPN style scoreboard tracking site. The matches really take front and center focus. So you can see all those datas. You can go to schedule, and you can search historical data as well. This will be great for like our colleges or wanting to show schools, families, admins, things like that. The current in progress season is always listed first, and we can see here we have IHSEN, we have IUEN, and then we have IHSEN Varsity. We can also go to complete, and under the completed ones, go back and see all the historical competitions that we've done on LeagueOS. So this is a way for you to show off what you've done historically as well. So I would poke around here on this new V2 preview. This will eventually be what the main site looks like, and this is where you'll be interacting with a lot of things in the future. So hopefully that's just confusing enough that it intrigues you and not so confusing that it shuts anyone down. But the basics are the old V1 site is still good for now. If you're comfortable with this, by all means use it. The dashboard or app.LeagueOS is kind of where things are going. The integrated comms as well. This will be an Android, iOS, and Windows native app to be available soon. So you'll be able to interact with everything there. And then the new Edge site or V2 site is coming in the future. Registration changes deadline. We mentioned this a little bit. So Thursday at 11:59 p.m. is your last chance to get any registration changes in. So that means if you need to complete adding students to your roster, if you're like, hey, I thought I had a varsity team and I didn't, and we need to drop them. If you're like, hey, I thought I registered a varsity team but didn't. All of those changes need to be done by Thursday at 11:59 p.m. because that gives us time Friday to finalize everything and then roll out before the weekend so you can be sure to know who you're playing in varsity matches next week. IEN varsity game connections also need to be completed by that time. We know there's been some issues with Marvel Rivals. We've made a few announcements, but if you need help making Marvel Rivals connections, open up a ticket and just give us a table of LeagueOS names next to Marvel Rivals names. We can manually make those connections for you. It's pretty simple. Varsity schedules will be finalized on Friday the 19th. We'll make an announcement on Discord saying, yep, everything's good to go, no more changes. You're free to start scheduling matches at will. Remember, club competitions don't have preset schedules. For club, you'll check in on match day, and the matches will be generated. It is normally less than 5 minutes after the match time is supposed to start by the time those matches are generated. Every now and then there's a little hiccup, but if so, we'll get them out pretty quick. LeagueOS walkthrough videos, like I mentioned, they are linked there. They're on our YouTube channel in a specific playlist. Those are how to check in for club matches, how to do all the score reporting and things. We'll make some new ones, like I said, this weekend, because LeagueOS is ever evolving. We'll probably make another Valorant-specific one as well. We're working on Overwatch stat integration. So before too long, you'll be able to input all the Overwatch stats automatically, like Valorant does, instead of having to do anything manually. And the goal is eventually, with that LeagueOS desktop app, for all stat collection to be automated. So you won't have to do any manual stat input at all. We looked at the V2 preview, match expectations. So we go over this at the beginning of every season. Just some basic outlines on what we're expecting from you as a coach during match time and your involvement. Communication is key. Communicate early, communicate often. So we're all busy, yes. We're all trying to juggle too many things. I think all of us agree with that, and none of us get paid enough money to do it. But we're all in the same boat together, so let's be as generous with each other as we can with communication. So if you know something is coming up, communicate that. Even if everything's fine, still just reach out to the opposing coach, the day before or early the day of and say, hey, we're good to go for the match. Looking forward to seeing you there. Just so everyone makes sure they're on the same page about what's going to happen. Communicating should be done by the coach. Too often we see just student via student interaction in chat. Sure, the students are in the chat, and if something arises that they need to communicate as well, that's fine. But the coaches should be the one communicating matches and setting them up. Match start time is the start time as scheduled on LeagueOS. So what that means is we shouldn't be at 5 o'clock for a 5 o'clock match just starting to get the kids sitting down at computers and ready to go. Our goal is matches are commencing at those times. So for games, that means different things. For Rocket League, it's pretty simple. It's quick to get in and jump in and do stuff. But for Minecraft, you're going to have to do a lot, right? You have to spin up the server. You got to make sure that. So try to get in early if those games have a lot of lead time, so we can start matches at the start time instead of starting the setup for the match at that time. That kind of goes into preparing in advance. Make sure you know your students are there that day. Make sure they know it's match day and all that fun stuff. And again, just talking to other coaches. All those match pages are on LeagueOS. Once the schedule is finalized, you have the entire schedule for the entire semester right there. If you know week 5, you're going to need to reschedule because of parent-teacher conferences, reach out now as soon as schedules are finalized and start communicating that. If you have questions about expectations, all of that is outlined in the general rules. There's a whole section on communication and coach commitment. Just make sure you understand those things, and we should be good. Exciting announcement. I believe we mentioned at the mandatory meeting, LANFest and Zotac are sponsoring our match day streams again. So we're going to do, I believe it's 60 streams or something like that throughout the course of the year. Those games have been chosen. The specific matches have not. So once schedules are finalized, we'll choose those matches. The goal is to highlight and showcase as many different schools with as many different games as possible. We're not necessarily looking for the best matchup of two Titans against each other. That may happen, and it would be cool, but the goal is more so that all of our schools can get some focus, some highlight, and some publicity, and to show the community, all of us as a collective. What's required from you is to pay attention to your matches. If you're in a streamed match, the name of the match will be renamed to include streamed match in bold, and that means it has to be played at the default start time. So because we're involving, several people from production to spectators to casters, we can't change that start time. It needs to be the default start time. You also need to make sure that you're waiting for production to be ready before starting that match. Just because you're there a couple minutes early, make sure the production assistant tells you, yes, you're good to start, because then the casters will be ready and all of those sorts of things. If for some reason your match is chosen and you can't fulfill those requirements, let us know ASAP. Please just reach out, open a ticket in Discord, email one of us, Discord message us, let us know so that we can choose another match. We don't want to be in a situation where at the last minute we're having to choose another match for the stream. We want to put our best foot forward. So let's make sure we took a look at all of that. Some upcoming opportunities. We have a Rivals and Valorant Bootcamp put on by Gosu. If you're not familiar with Gosu, they're like a professional coaching and training partner that we have. That link offers you a discount for your schools if you want to have a bootcamp training experience for Rivals and Valorant. If you have questions about that, feel free to ask. But that document should kind of go through and outline what that is. I believe it's coming up very soon. I don't know the specific date, but I know this is kind of a last chance opportunity for this. One of the pushes that we're going for this year is more in-person events. So we understand that students like having in-person opportunities to play. It's kind of what differentiates esports from just gaming in your bedroom at home, right? So we're trying to offer as many of those as possible. This year we're offering at least 4 in-person opportunities. The first one is coming up here in exactly a month in October, which is FortLAN here in Fort Wayne. It's a chapter of LANFest National, and it's a 3-day, 24-hour gaming experience at a convention center here in downtown Fort Wayne. We have secured an area just for us and our students to play competitive tournament matches at that venue. It is free, and you can sign up to play Marvel Rivals, Rocket League, or Valorant. Please, you bring a team or two. This is a chance for us to show the larger community what we're doing in schools with esports. It's a chance to show off for some partners in the Indiana Cybersecurity Council. There'll be colleges there competing. Your students can also get a discounted admission to FortLAN in general if they're like going to come on their own and with parents or stay overnight. Whatever you work out with them, we can get discounted info and information. But to actually compete in our tournaments at the event is free. The times are listed in that sign-up sheet. This is a way for us to kind of gain um, interest and registration. There's not going to be a formal registration process, so you can go ahead and look at that. Another one that we're really excited about is the HECC conference. If you're not familiar with HECC, it's the Hoosier Educational Computer Coordinators Conference in downtown Indianapolis at Union Station and Crown Plaza. It is the biggest Indiana EdTech conference by far, and we have a room. My favorite thing to say is that they kicked Google out of the room and gave it to us. I still don't know how that happened, but we're going to take it. So we have a room to do showcase matches and sessions for 3 days at HECC. What we are looking for from you all is participation in those showcase matches. So that Google form is to sign up for if you would like to bring a team during the school day to play in front of hundreds and hundreds of Indiana educators to show off your skills. So if you would like to do that, fill out that interest form. Just because you fill out the form does not necessarily mean you'll be chosen to attend. We can't have everyone come, but we are taking basically applications and interest for that. Quick announcement, we did have to remove Marvel Rivals from that. We thought we had enough PCs to do Marvel Rivals. We do not. We only have 10 PCs. So we are changing Marvel Rivals to a League of Legends competition, but we're going to try to get as many schools there as possible. So if you're interested in that, please fill that out. If you are going to be at HECC, look out for us in a booth, number 187, I believe, and in Conrail Station. Stop by and say hi. Nick and I and Jonathan and a bunch of other board members will be more than happy to chat with you, and you can help us talk up IEN to all the other schools that will be there. The big announcement, I suppose, is IEN Winter Finals. So we're having an in-person Winter Finals event for the first time ever because the middle schools have kind of been shorted out on an in-person championship experience for fall, and we can't let that injustice slide anymore. So we're going to have in-person state finals for middle school beginning December 13th of this year. So it's going to be an event approximately 8 a.m. to 4:30. 8 a.m. is registration. You probably won't need to be there actually that early, but we'll release a schedule soon. It is going to be at Trine University, which if you've not seen Trine's new Mark and Sarah Music Ruoff Gaming Center, it's pretty crazy. It's a tiered theater experience with dedicated production rooms and practice booths and all sorts of things. So we have the whole place to ourselves. We're going to showcase these middle school champions in a facility worthy of the state championship. At that event, we're also going to have a high school showcase match. We can't let the middle school teams have all the fun. So there's enough space and PCs that we want to run some high school showcase matches that might not normally occur and might not occur in person for sure. So maybe we have a single A versus triple A battle of a big school versus a small school, or maybe we do, a North versus South game, or the Battle of Indianapolis, whatever that looks like. If you're interested in bringing some high school teams to Trine University on Saturday, December 13th, go ahead and fill out that interest form, and we'll kind of gather data on what we think we can accomplish, and we'll reach out and schedule those matches for the high school finals, or high school showcase during the middle school finals. So for middle schools, what this means is if you have a varsity team that you think might even be close to qualifying, start talking to your principal about this event so that you can start preparing for travel now. Because we know schools move slow, and sometimes middle schools move even slower with travel and sorts of things. So begin to start preparing for this as we get closer. And then IEN Spring Finals will be what you've come to know and love. We don't have a specific announcement for venue yet, but we hope to have that at the next meeting or sometime soon. I think IEN Finals for spring might look a little bit different than it has in the past, so stay tuned for some exciting announcements for all of that and growing into more and more opportunities. There are also a few more events that are coming up that I didn't have details on to share yet, but hopefully will soon. There are a few local colleges around the state who are looking to host some in-person tournaments as well. So probably a few yet even this semester before winter, and one or two in spring. So be on the lookout for more announcements about more in-person opportunities. But that's what we're trying to offer this year, is more opportunities for you and your students to play in person, to interact with other students, and to travel, and to see where esports can take them after high school. I think that's what I have. Jonathan brought up looking at Fortnite rules to clarify how to score with the new maps. I don't have the document up, but we can look at that. Basically, for Fortnite, what you're doing is you're always playing all three game types: Zone Wars, Gunfight, and Box Fight. You're scoring on LeagueOS the round score for each as a separate game in LeagueOS. So, for instance, if in Gunfight the score is 3-2, one team won 3 rounds, another team won 2, you will score 3-2 on LeagueOS. And you'll do that for each of the 3 maps, each in a separate game. What LeagueOS will do is it will tabulate the entire round score over all 3 maps and declare a winner based on total number of rounds. So you won't have to do any of that. It is probably a good idea for you or your students to take a screenshot of the final scoreboard at the end of each game type, just so you can refer back to. But you can also be live scoring on LeagueOS as the maps are progressing and just putting in the score there. So again, the idea is you should be reporting the number of rounds you win in each map or each game type for each game on LeagueOS, all 3 games. And yes, we do need you to play all 3 games, even if your team can't win after the first 2. 1, sportsmanship is important. But 2, we are scoring total round points in the end of season scoring. So if a team quits early and kind of removes the opportunity of scoring for the other team, they'll have less points possible for the end of season scoring. So yes, please play all 3 maps. Are these events for middle school and unified? Middle school, definitely. Unified, yes. We can have some unified teams show up as well. I don't know if we'll be able to do unified versus unified competitions, but there's nothing limiting unified teams from participating with the other teams. It is not a best of 3, correct. Fortnite is not best of 3. It is play all 3, maximum round score wins. Any other questions from the chat? For League, regular season is definitely not best of 3. I don't believe it should be best of 3. Let me check and make sure it is not. If it is, I will change it. Best of 3 is only for playoffs for League. So let me check and make sure, Connor, and then I'll follow up with you. Nick, Carlos, did I miss anything? Jonathan? All right. So quick recap, big things. Find your varsity schedules if you're a varsity team. Make sure you have a match for all the things you think you're registered for. If you don't have one, reach out to us tomorrow, bright and early, so we can get it figured out. Because tomorrow at 11:59 is the cutoff. We will not add any more teams to varsity schedules after that. Make sure you take a look at LeagueOS so you understand how to open up and look at matches on the results page. Take a look this weekend. We'll post it as well, but we'll add some videos to the YouTube channel with some summaries on some of the new things for match reporting, comms, and finding all of your scores. Remember, there is no schedule for club. Club is like preseason. That's what we've been doing. You'll check in with the little toggle switch, and when the match time closes, the matches will be generated, and then from there on out, it's the same. But varsity schedules are pre-generated, so you'll be able to see those now. All right. Thank you, everyone, for joining. As always, let us know how we can help. You can reach out on Discord. You can open up a ticket. You can send us an email. You can send a DM. I'm trying to wean myself off of answering DMs because tickets are more helpful for everyone to see. But however you reach out, you're going to get help. I think we proved ourselves pretty reliable in that sense. So we're excited to get the regular season started next week. Be on the lookout for those match streams. Be on the lookout for social media posts to share. Share those opportunities with your students, specifically FortLAN and HECC, so we can get those teams out in the public and show the rest of Indiana what we already know, which is that we have the best students doing the best things. So thanks, everyone. That's the end of the meeting. You're free to hang out and ask questions, or if not, we'll see you next month.